Hey everyone, this is a video you didn't ask for. Here is a sign with my name on it. I'm gonna put it over here, just in case anyone forgets what my channel is called. So We Haven't Met is a game I've been making for over 4 months, and during that time I've uploaded several devlogs on my YouTube channel, showcasing different levels I've created that you may encounter when playing the game. I suggest you go check out those devlogs because, oh, by the way, almost 90% of you are not subscribed. Now, I haven't actually made a video talking about my thoughts of the game, or what actually happens in the game. So this is a video explaining everything you need to know about We Haven't Met. So first, the tools. Now, one question you may be asking is, what game engine will you be using? Well, you probably know the answer to this. I'll be using an engine called Source, which is a modding engine used to power games like Half-Life 2, Counter-Strike, etc. So this game will be a mod for Portal 2, and you might be wondering, why is it a mod instead of a standalone game? Well, A, authenticity purposes. So when I first started this project back in August, all I was doing was recreating a dream I had one night, which was me playing a very intricate Portal 2 map with different districts, and it was very abstract, and I just really wanted to recreate it, and because it's a Portal 2 map I had to recreate it in the Source engine. And even to this day, you know, when I've incorporated a storyline and other dreams that I've either had or are completely made up, I still want that part of the game with different districts to be as close to the dream that I had as possible, if you know what I mean. Which is why I'm using the Source engine, and it's why it's a Portal 2 mod. Second reason is that Source is easier than any other game engine I know. And the reason why is because since it's a modding engine, Source already provides you with many models and textures and sounds, depending on which game you're modding for, and you don't really need to do much programming because Source sorts all that out for you anyway. And you know, you guys do want the game to come out as soon as possible, and me making it in a very easy to use game engine will definitely help with that. Okay, so the story. What actually happens in the game? So you're a test subject in a large facility called Reserve, run by a guy named Dr. Mark Paint, who is voiced by James Purdy. Thank you, James. Thanks. And Reserve is a company known for honorology, the study. And Reserve is known for honorology, the scientific study of dreams. And you're about to... So what they do is, Now this is the part of the video where I lose the ability to speak, so what I'm going to do instead is write a script, which is what I should have done before, so I know exactly what to say without stumbling over my words like a dumbass. And rather than my face telling you what happens in the game, I'll just use my amazing drawing skills to visualize what happens in the game. I'll probably be done in a couple of hours or so.
Approximately 10 hours later.
So like I said, you're a test subject who has just volunteered for a company called Reserve. Reserve is a company known for its scientific study of dreams, or honorology, which is the official term for it. It's run by founding member Dr. Mark Paint, who starts off as the player's guide in the game. Since it's the test subject's first day, Mark Paint introduces himself, the company, and explains that the test subject will be trying out a new piece of technology he produced, which is a machine that can simulate dreams. So far, Reserve has only recorded and analysed dreams, as well as converted dreams into visible pieces of media like images and videos. So this new machine will have a massive impact on the company's status. Even though this is the first time Reserve has done anything like this, Mark Paint assures the test subject that nothing will go wrong. Which is a bit of lazy foreshadowing if you ask me. Anyway, the test subject then enters a bright white room with a small office chair in the centre. Mark Paint then informs the test subject to sit in the chair in order to proceed with the experiment. They do, and immediately fall asleep. the test subject suddenly wakes up in a completely different room to the one they were in before. Look familiar? A pre-recorded voice of Mark Paint kicks in, telling the test subject that they are in fact dreaming. However, instead of the dream being subconsciously generated by the test subject, it is in fact created by Lizerve themselves. The player then proceeds to complete puzzles set out by the dream. However, something goes wrong. You never saw that coming, did you? Since the test subject is actually a former employee of Aperture Science, yep, big surprise, you actually play as Shug Ratman. I'm kidding, you're Shell, don't worry. Since the player is Shell, there are certain elements of the dream where the test subject finds themselves a portal gun, and then later on gets teleported to the opening section of Portal. Yep, you never saw that coming either. Mark Paint notices this and mentions that the player's past might have been subconsciously bleeding through and manipulating the dream.
We don't recall implementing that part of the design. I think your subconscious may be manipulating the dream a little bit.
He proceeds to open a door for the player to continue to the Yellow Fish district, but a wall prevents the player from doing so. This is soon realised to be all of Mark Paint's fault. Since Mark is a clumsy bastard, he somehow forgot to prevent the player from knowing they are dreaming. Otherwise,
they become lucid and can practically do whatever the hell they like. Sometimes they manipulate dreams without even realising it.
Then everything explodes and the player wakes up in another dream that Mark Paint has no control over. I basically spoiled most of the game anyway, so I'm not going to spoil any more. You're just going to have to wait for the game to come out. Take a look at this image from the opening section of We Haven't Met. Notice how vast and empty everything is. Like, why use all this empty space for just one moving platform that is only used once to transport the player from one place to another? And to be honest, this bottom half of the entire room could have just been filled up so the player could walk to the other side instead. Also, why are there just random office rooms in here? If someone was an employee working in one of these cramped office spaces, then if they were to look out the window, all they'd see is this. Nice. But then you realise that there aren't any people here, so you're like, what the f***, Stanley, what are you trying to say here? Now, this was all intentional. These photographs, for instance, are images of various locations. A shopping centre, a school, the outside of a house, an office space, a playground. But these photographs of these places seem very otherworldly and unsettling. Maybe it's because of the lack of people in these photos, or maybe it's because all of these places look particularly empty. Or maybe the images are so obscure or distorted that you can't help but seem seriously weirded out by what's going on. Like this street that has no real perspective, or this room which has all the walls painted with sky, or this. I'm not even going to try to explain whatever the hell this is. Anyway, this type of design is what you will typically find throughout We Haven't Met. The idea came from a video titled Places You've Seen in Your Dreams. And you know, since We Haven't Met is all about dreaming, and the video really connected with me in dreams that I personally had myself, I just had to incorporate this design in my game. This image particularly caught my interest as it really creeped me out in its familiarity and obscurity. Like, it's rather strange that this apartment complex is completely surrounded by concrete. It also looks fairly similar to the image I showed you from We Haven't Met. And then I realised that this is actually located near Heathrow Airport.
Crown Plaza and Holiday Inn Express share the same building, but the rooms are kept separate. If I remember rightly...
Yeah, it still creeps me out. Who f***ing designed this? Now, I'm no great songwriter. I just mash the keys on my keyboard until I find something that sounds nice. But I think I've written a pretty solid score for We Haven't Met. I haven't even finished developing a quarter of the game and already I've completed the entire soundtrack. Mainly because I spent about 5 minutes on each song. Some common themes you'll hear when listening to the soundtrack is contrast. So there'll often be new age ambient synths accompanied by very harsh drums and percussion. There'll also be a lot of piano used, particularly in the opening theme and closing theme of the game to give a sense of conclusion. Now, since there are a lot of tracks to cover, I'm not going to go through all of them. What I am going to do is just go through the different types of music you'll hear when encountering the different districts. The track used for the Red Peacock district is probably one of the more basic ones. It uses the same contrast idea I was talking about before with the ambient synths and loud percussion, and in some parts you'll just hear one of the two. The Yellow Fish district is meant to be an urban city centre, so I thought it would be a good idea for it to be accompanied with a very upbeat track with a simple drum sequence and recurring melody. The Green Bean district is a very industrial factory with lots of moving machinery, and the music you'll hear is a repetitive pulsing sound filled with other mechanical noises and distant echoes of droning voices. It gives a sense of pace, and is supposed to make the player move as quickly as possible. And finally, the Blue Ghost district. You don't really see much of this district, as you immediately no-clip out of the dream world and end up in the Backrooms. If you don't know what the Backrooms are, it's related to that liminal space idea I was talking about in the level design section of this video. But anyway, the music you'll hear is probably one of the only songs in the game's soundtrack that doesn't use any percussion, just synth pads that increasingly get more and more dissonant. It's supposed to make the player feel isolated and gives an unsettling feeling. Basically what the level design does on its own, really. Hello everyone, I'm showing my face again because I've finally regained the ability to speak without the aid of a script. Yay! And it's also the end of 2020, which is unbelievable. So in this last portion of this video, I'm just going to be talking about some of the logos and character design that me and James have designed for the game. So the logos. So the first logo we designed is the We Haven't Met logo itself, which looks like this. And you might be wondering, why is there a bunch of abstract rectangles? Well, it's meant to indicate the 4 districts that you encounter during the game. The logo originally looked like this, and James said it was shit, so I changed it. So James sketched out some designs for me, and I quite like this one, and I recreated it in Photoshop, and there you go. Now you have this logo, which is nice. I think it looks nice. So the second logo we designed is, of course, the Reserve logo, because every company needs a logo, and Reserve is a company, so obviously it needs a logo. So currently it looks like this, which is, a metallic eye with blue text of Reserve in the center. Now, once again, James sketched out the design, or several designs, and I recreated my favorite one in Photoshop. So James sent me like 3 or 4 like logo designs, which were like symbols of dreams or whatever. I think one of them was like a rose, one of them was a brain, I think, and another one was an eye, which I used to make the logo, obviously. So designed it in Photoshop, and then when I next saw James, I sketched out a quick version of it, and he was slightly concerned that the text was inside the logo, and he said that the text should be outside of the logo, but when I showed him the design I created in Photoshop, he actually quite liked it. He said it looked alright, and I think it looks alright. I don't know, you can tell me in the comments. But yeah, so for the character design. Now, there really is only one character in the game aside from the player, and that is Mark Paint. And he looks like this, which, you know, I kind of described some of the features. He's a humble, late 20-year-old male. He's got white hair, he's got glasses, skinny, I don't know. And I just told these features to James, he designed it, and I think it looks amazing. Thank you very much, James, for doing all this shit for me. Good job. Yeah. Well, anyway, I think that's it for this video. This took way too long to make. In fact, it took so long, I was meant to upload this last year. Get it? Because it's 3rd of January 2021. But yeah, thank you for watching. Please play the game when it comes out. It depends if you have Portal 2. Just get Portal 2 right now and play that before you play my game. So yeah, please subscribe, because we're gonna be a YouTuber called Swigs27, who is a massive weeb.